this to 0. We make this a little bit, I'll go close so that you can see, and we make it bigger here because we want to end to look like a ball. So when we say, then we say apply again, and then we say 0, and then apply again, and then we say close, right? So this way, and since it's selected already, is closed. Always save your project. If you think that the height is not fine, you can always go back and select, the vertices, and the best is to bring it down from the top viewport, because otherwise if you move it, you'll ruin the whole thing. So bring it down from the top viewport. Also have an idea how tall it is, Right, so let's check. Okay, the looks fine to me. Okay, now let's apply a turbo smooth to it. I want to see how it looks when you apply turbo smooth. It's very important that you apply turbo smooth in the beginning and then keep on working with it. So you can also apply turbo smooth. If you don't have turbo smooth, then apply mesh smooth. So change this to 2. So now what's happening here is it's very soft. The edges are very, very soft, and we don't need that. We need sharp edges. For that, I'll give you an example that how this actually can have an idea how the whole thing works. So if you go to geometry and go to, this is just an example, you don't have to do it, it's an extended parameters, and you say chamfer box, and you say cube, right? So you have this cube, and now turn the edge faces. Now you can see that the edges here, it looks very soft right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can change the fillet, here like that, so that it becomes, a bit sharp. Otherwise, it can be like that. So this is the method that also we're using, and then you can increase the fillet segment to make it more sharper, So basically, this is the method we're using right now here. So we turn off this bulb here. We come down, and we select. We go to edit poly again, and we say edge, and what we do, we select all these edges. Again, this yellow line is here. It means for some reason the use of selection is turned on. Just turn it off, because it's sometimes the shortcuts, by accident it comes up. So now the best is if you can also select these points in the top viewport, which is more easier. See, and then you go to, after selecting it, then you go to connect, select that, and it puts more segments to it. How many segments do you want? Let's say 5 is fine, and say OK, and then we come back here and we say, when we click connect, and again we got 5, so that this time let's say if we have 6 or 7, depends, say OK. Now let's see how it looks when the turbo smooth is on. So it's getting better. It's getting better. If you render it, you'll see it's getting better. But we want more. We want more sharp edge. So turn it off again and go back. And here we are in the edge mode. So we are here in the edge mode right now, which is this. You need to select this middle edge. Now you go either select this and control and go one by one, turn around, run. You can make mistakes, but you don't have to go through that. Okay, we just select one edge here and we say loop. So this will select all our, you need to centralize it, just click here and then it centralizes over the axis. Okay, so this is one way of selecting an edge. Also, if you want to select these edges here, you say ring, so it'll select the other edges. But right now we need to select this one, so we go to loop, and in loop what we'll do is we'll scroll down and we'll come to chamfer. This is also a great tool. Go and click chamfer, and we click 1. As you can see, this is 1, and then we say apply again and say 0.5, because first has to be bigger and then the lower value, otherwise the edges will overlap, which is not good. So we just keep it 0.5 and we say OK, And after that, then now we turn on our turbo smooth and see how it looks. So this is cool now. This looks alright now. This is what we wanted. Okay, so we have completed most of the sphere, but one more thing is, important thing is, you have to create this blade here, you know. Now this blade you can model it with lofting, and that is more complicated way of doing it, but you can of course go ahead and try lofting method. But I found another way which is way much easier, you know. So what you need to do is you just turn off turbo smooth, otherwise it'll take your RAM, you know. Come to top viewport, go here, and go to geometry, and in geometry, standard primitives, click here, and you come to stairs. So you've got the stairs here. Go to spiral stair, and in the middle, click spare. Keep it inside, and just click anywhere. Now we've got our basic stairs. You know, it's basically this is for architecture. You know, visualization. You use these stairs, and so we're using it for some other method. You just need to be creative. That's it. To get the best out of it. So you need to centralize it. Just go to align tool here and click this, and it will automatically centralize it for you, you know. So bring it down again, because we just centralized it. Make sure that you bring it here. Come here and we'll see stairs. So let's first increase the overall size, you know. Go to the top here. Is it more? And the radius as well. And now we click overall, and then this gives us a rise height, and now we can just, you know, make more steps so it looks nice like that, right? This spiral stair here is a bit tricky. You just need to play around with it to get the best results. And okay, now we go to the depth, thickness. Let's see what thickness does. Okay, just leave it as it is. Depth is this depth, and then we come down and then we say width, so that it has to go all the way inside. And now let's turn on the stringers and leave the rest as it is, and we come down to stringers here, and we just play around, you know, with the values here. Also, if you can reduce the width, you know, and so that you can go down and increase the width of the stringer, right? And then come down and width. So this gives you a nice, you know, blade kind of effect. So it's going up, so what we need to do is just bring it down. So select, you need to click and play with this panel here. Very dodgy panel, and just fix it here. So now we've got our nice blade, you know, here, and you can also just make it sharp by depth, you know, turn down the depth. And so just need to increase the width so that it goes inside the panel, and increase the radius a little bit as well. And now the next step is, if you want to turn on the stringers, you can, you know, turn on the stringers as well. So you can have more blades like this if you want, but we don't need that one. So you can increase this one a little bit as well if you like. This gives a good effect as well. And the height, leave it as it is. What I'm doing is just playing around with the values here. The best is again, like I said, see, this is another effect. So the best is play around with the values, I must say, because that's how I got this effect. Now, let's not waste any more time here. You can play around with this, and we go back here and we say now we want this to be tapered, pointed at the bottom. So we go to modifiers list and we say taper, and we taper it, right? Now the taper's upside, so what we do, just go to mirror here and we select one of the axes. We select either Z or Y, you need to check, So now that we have got it right, so we just push it up, put it there somewhere, the right place, and it's still, chucking out, so it's still coming out of here. So what we do is just we increase the amount, make sure that it doesn't come out. It looks like this, like a blade. And here what's happening is it's gone inside. So we go back to spiral stair here, and we just increase the radius roughly here somewhere. And so now we've got our blade, as you can see. See? Stop. Okay. Just sometimes get carried away with this stuff. Anyways, so now we've got our top bit. So a few more things, in the top bit, then it gets very easy. The next step is we need to see what we need to do. Photoshop, So this is what we need to do. This panel here, and then these rings we need to do, which is easier to do. So we minimize this and we go to top viewport, and we go to geometry and geometry standard primitives, and we'll select tube, and we just come here and just roughly draw a tube, and we come here, and of course we need to align it. Go to align tool, click the sphere, and then say okay, it's aligned. So we leave everything as it is in the modifier panel. As you can see, this thing is coming out from here, which is not right. So we go back to spiral and we just turn down the radius so it goes inside. Go back, select this tube here, and what we do is we'll apply turbo smooth to it as well. And again, it's like the edges have got problems, looks like a tire. We don't need that. We need to have sharp edges. So we go back to the tube, and again we just increase the cap segments like I showed you before, and you'll see now this looks much better. Go back to turbo smooth and just increase the illustration here, and so it's now much better. Now turn on the turbo smooth for the top as well, so that we need to match now this tube with the spear. So what we do is we'll apply again the taper to it, and we just taper it from the top, and go back to tube again. You just make sure that we fix it, and you can increase the height as well if you like. So I hope you guys are following me, and as you can see, taper has to be a little bit bigger so that it matches, and reduce the taper and bring it down a little bit. If you want more sharp edges, you go back to the tube and just increase it to cap segments to, let's say, 10, and height segments to 10. Sharp, increase this as well. So as you can see, it's coming out from here, so we just need to go back to taper, and because this is the inside panel. So we've got our panel, and now we need to put more rings, and we just hold shift on the keyboard and bring it down. So we've got another ring, and say copy and say okay, and again go and fix it, radius and radius 2 as well, so that you just fix it accordingly, probably a bit bigger. Radius 2, increase it a little bit more, and you can see maybe a nice looking ring here. Again, we do the same method. I think let's see how many are there in Photoshop. So one is this big one, and then there's immediately another one, and then this one. So what we do is you bring this one here somewhere and increase the taper increase the size a little bit.